Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking through the ins and outs of my first buy-to-let property purchase. So if you're new to this concept, a buy-to-let property is a property you buy with the intention of renting it out to tenants, getting that monthly rental income and also benefiting from that capital appreciation when the house value goes up over time. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, luckily I have made a beginner's guide to buy-to-let properties already up on my channel, so make sure you check that out. So for a bit of a background story, let's first delve into why I first got interested in buy-to-let property purchases. So this basically started when I was about 25 or 26 years old, and I decided to finally get on top of my personal finances. I had graduated university and I was in my first full-time job, and I really just wanted to get on top of things and set myself up basically and become a proper adult if you wish. Now buy-to-let properties, it's something that I was never aware of when I was growing up. My parents are not into it, none of my family members are, so it was something that was a complete alien and a new concept to me. And it's when I started to figure out just how much rent I had spent throughout like my university and in my early 20s, 6-7 years of renting. I think when I worked out on a napkin once, it was in the region of 30 to 35,000 pounds worth of rent over those years. And this was just a staggering number for me, and I was thinking, how are these people getting these rents? How do I go about owning my own rental property so I can benefit from this also? However, also at that time, I didn't actually own my own residential property. So I decided to first prioritise getting that sorted, which took about another 12 months. And then after I was already settled in my own home, then I was ready to kind of, start the buy-to-let property process. And, just a quick caveat, you can become a buy-to-let property owner before you own your own residential property. That's absolutely fine and it can be done. However, in the UK we have a lot of first-time buyer benefits, and at the time I didn't think it was worth it to basically not waste but use those first-time buyer benefits on a buy-to-let property rather than a residential property. So the first logical step in my buy-to-let property journey was to actually find a good property to buy. Now to do this, I first worked out my upper purchase limit, which was, in my case, it was £140,000. And how I got to these calculations and how I worked this figure out, I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes time, so don't worry. So then my plan was then to take that £140,000 upper limit, plug it into Rightmove, Zoopla, register with a couple of local estate agents, and then start looking at those properties in that search criteria. My plan was then to, once I found a good property, delve further into the property area or the location it was in terms of the rental demand and rents per month. However, luckily for me, I was in the right place at the right time, and I never ended up actually going through with my initial plan. And this was because I was made aware of a great property that was actually close by to my own residential property that was being sold by somebody I already knew from previous financial transactions. So this person was looking to sell this property due to some personal issues, and in private we came to an agreement of a great price that benefited us both in terms of saving money and time and avoiding hassles with estate agents and things like that. Now the property was a one-bedroomed apartment. It was in a reasonably good condition. However, it definitely was a bit outdated and needed a few cosmetic upgrades just to bring it up to a good rental standard and appeal to a wide range of tenants. Another good thing about this is, like I mentioned, the rental property was in an area I was already familiar with. I'd lived in this area for a number of years and kind of knew the ins and outs of the rental market and the rental demands in this area. Now the next step on my journey was to figure out how to fund my property purchase. So to do this, I used a product called a buy-to-let mortgage, which is a mortgage specifically designed for landlords and the rental market. Now these differ from residential mortgages mainly in the amount of deposit you need up front. So residential mortgages, lenders sometimes require as low as 5% deposit up front, Whereas with buy-to-let products, the lenders usually require 20 to 25% deposit, and also the interest rates are higher. I already knew about this 20 to 25% deposit rule prior to my property search starting, so that's how I knew my upper limit was the £140,000 property price. So then once I had agreed, the price with the seller, it was just simply sitting down with a mortgage broker who then sourced me the best buy-to-let mortgage product at that time. Once that was all sorted and the mortgage was approved, I then instructed my solicitors, and I also instructed a surveyor to do a survey just for peace of mind. So the sale process took around 14 weeks from start to finish, and then when I officially had the keys, it was then time to get the property ready for my new tenant. Now thankfully for me, my girlfriend was on hand throughout to take before and after photos, and I'm going to talk you through these now.
So the first photo shows what the apartment living room used to look like. So there was a grey, brown, tacky carpet down and unstained skirting boards. And this is what the kitchen looked like. So the previous owner had gone for a sort of like grey checkered vinyl flooring, which wasn't great and definitely needed replacing. In the hallway, well, there was nothing on the hallway floors. It was just exposed down to the wood rafters. In the bedroom, again, we can see the grey brown tacky carpet, which definitely needed replacing. And in the bathroom, the previous owner had gone for another sort of vinyl flooring, which definitely needed updating. So these are the photos that show what's underneath that carpet. So we ripped everything out and straight down to the wood ply floorboards underneath. And then same again in the bedroom. You can also see the skylight there, which I think is a pretty cool feature of the bedroom. On the photo on the left, you'll be able to see all the junk that we removed from the apartment. So you got the old carpets. The previous owner also left the old sofa, which definitely needed chucking out. And on the right hand side, you'll see the new flooring that I chose to lay throughout. You can see a nice little short film of me and my girlfriend laying the underlay in the bedroom, and then obviously on the right there's me laying the floor. Again, I just went for like a light neutral colour, just with the aim of making it light and airy and reflecting all the light that comes through the skylights. And these are the after photos. So this is the main photo we took of the bedroom. So you can see how good that skylight's looking. The floor's looking nice and shiny. All the walls are freshly painted. These are wide angle photos of the bedroom. Again, it's just made the bedroom look 10 times bigger, to be honest. And this is in the living room diner. Again, so we used the same floor throughout, furnished it really, really nicely. Again, it just looks a lot more bright and airy and definitely more homely and comfortable for the tenant. And then this was the bathroom, so we put a new tile floor down, new shower curtain, just spruced it up everywhere, painted the walls, and it's all looking fantastic in my opinion.
I also had to make sure that the property met all the legal requirements in terms of the gas safety certificate, the electrical safety certificate, and also the energy performance certificate. Now, without these three certificates, a legal tenancy cannot be formed, and if a landlord goes ahead and rents a property out without these three valid certificates, they could face thousands of pounds worth of fines from their local council. Once the property was refurbished and ready, my next step was then to go out and find myself a suitable tenant. Now, my initial thoughts for this was to work with a local estate agent who would market the property for me, find suitable tenants, and then also they could help me with, managing the rent, collecting the rent, and etc., etc. However, I was really lucky again, and I was actually informed of a website called Open Rent from a business colleague of mine. So I had previously heard of Open Rent, however I wrongly assumed it was just an advertisement board similar to that of Spur Room. But when I actually went on the website, I realised that they have a full landlord service from start to finish for a fixed price. Now I think I paid roughly around £50, and for that Open Rent registered my property on Rightmove, Zoopla, and also their internal advertising boards. So my property got that exposure, that what I wanted, and got the property out there for everybody to see. They also had a landlord dashboard where I could see how many people have viewed the property advert, and I could see how many people were interested in it. They also collated all the messages from the potential tenants all in one place, so I could arrange viewings. They also had an additional service where I think it was for like £15. They'd also do financial reference checks as well, which is obviously it's something I recommend doing. However, the biggest benefit of this, and included in the fixed price, was that Open Rent also generated the legal tenancy document. Now, this is something I had absolutely no idea on how to do, and it was something I was quite worried about. But so basically what happens is you give Open Rent the details in terms of the rent per month you want, the term of the contract, i.e. 9 months, 12 months, and Open Rent will generate the legal document, email it to yourself for signing as the landlord, and also email it to the new tenant for signing it as well. Open Rent, another great thing as well is that Open Rent also deals with the whole deposit issue. So the tenant will give Open Rent the deposit, and Open Rent will deposit their money with one of the government deposit schemes, which is a legal requirement also. Now, this is going to sound like a massive sponsored video for Open Rent, but genuinely guys, it's not. I just think it's a really comprehensive service at a really good, like, fixed low price, especially in comparison to, you know, the traditional methods of going with estate agents, where a similar service with viewings and tenant management and contract formation, you know, the bills is going to run up into the hundreds and hundreds, and it's just going to kill your profitability before you even begin. But on the off chance that anyone from Open Rent is watching this video, shout out you guys, and my line's always open. So once I had found a suitable tenant for my property, the next step on the journey was to figure out how I was going to manage my property going forward. As we've already discussed on the channel, you know, buy-to-let properties, they're not always as passive as people think in terms of an investment class. You know, they do require some work and some attention to keep them ticking over each month. As a landlord, you know, you're responsible for the maintenance, the upkeep, ensuring that the tenants are happy and safe, and collecting the tenants' rent. We've discussed previously on how to mitigate some of this work by delegating it to professional management companies, but obviously this comes associated with a fee which can eat into your profitability on a monthly basis. However, in this scenario, I felt comfortable managing the property myself, and this was for two reasons. Firstly, this was because geographically the property is close by to my own residential property, so I feel like I can keep a close eye on it without much hassle. And secondly, I didn't want to reduce that monthly profitability by getting a professional management agency to do the work for me. So for the last little bit of the video, guys, I just want to quickly go through the financial aspects of the deal, the profitability, the return on investment, that sort of thing. I'll do all this on an Excel spreadsheet, so we'll just quickly go through this now. As you can see, the property price was 140,000, which was the top of my range. The deposit amount was 28,000, which turned out to be a 20% deposit deal, so I was grateful that the mortgage broker managed to secure that for me. The loan amount was 112,000. The mortgage rate was 2.67%, which in comparison to today's interest rates, you know, it's just crazy to see such a big difference. But this product was sourced in April of 2022, and everybody knows mortgage rates have increased, skyrocketed even since then. So the initial cost, 28,000 with the deposit, the refurb and the safety certificates, a little over £3,000. You saw from the photos that, you know, new floors, repainted all the walls, new bathroom, tiles, that sort of thing. The cost does add up really very quickly if you're not careful. Stamp duty fees, 4,200. Again, you know, nothing we can do about that really. Solicitor fees, nearly £2,000. Again, sort of standard in my opinion. And I think I have a quite good solicitor, so I'm happy to pay that a little bit extra to get that, you know, better service quality. So all in was £37,197. Crazy amount of money for a one-bedroom apartment, but like I said, it's in a desirable location, affluential area. You know, there's definitely some underlying capital appreciation to be had in the property value, and, you know, strong rental demands. So I'm not too worried about the total investment cost. So the monthly outgoings, I haven't plugged anything in for the maintenance just because the flat I've recently recently refurbed. Some people, you know, budget 10% of the rent per month. You know, you can do that, but I just think it's a bit overkill so early on. Once I have the flat for, you know, 5-10 years and things start getting a bit outdated again, you know, it's definitely time to start budgeting for that. The management fee, because it's a one-bedroom apartment in a renovated Victorian building, there's £75 that goes to the management company. A bit annoying, but it covers things like contents insurance, buildings insurance, a gardener, a cleaner, and private parking as well. You know, so overall it's not too bad, nothing we can do about it. The mortgage repayment's £251, 41p a month, because that's what I pay the lender back per month. So outgoings 326, monthly incomings. I managed to get 800 rent per month, which is kind of in keeping with the area, so that's quite a good rent for a one bed. Yeah, so monthly income's 800. So the monthly profit 473 and 59p. So that's obviously the rent minus the outgoings. Yearly profit £5,683. Return on investment 15.28%. So not bad. But obviously these amounts are taken before you pay any tax. I'm going to do a separate video on the taxes that you pay, whether you want to buy property in your own name or a limited company. But so this is worked out pre-tax. But you can see, an ROI of 15% is very good. So that concludes today's video and the story of my first buy-to-let property purchase. Overall, it's been a really good investment for me. Each month it's given me that steady rental income, and hopefully over time I can expect some appreciation in the property value, which is an added bonus. However, like any investment, there's an element of risk involved, so it's really important you do your own research and you crunch your own numbers before getting into something like this. However, I feel like if you're willing to put in the work and you've got the right mindset, a buy-to-let property can be a great investment for anybody and can help you build that long-term wealth. Like always guys, if you enjoyed today's video and want to see similar content from myself, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Also, if you have any questions or comments, or maybe you're thinking of getting into buy-to-let property investments yourself, let me know in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.